The 10 new regional cities and over 14 municipalities that are completing a $360 million World Bank and Government of Uganda funded road infrastructure project are now being advised to stick with stringent regulatory benchmarks that have been initiated by the lender.
So a lot of capacity building has been done. Annually, PPDA, we conduct procurement audits on all these entities to assess their performance. And we are glad to note that the performance has been increasing with time. So we are happy for this program that a lot of capacity has been built, not only with the procurement and disposal units, but also the other arms of the procurement structures in the entities.
According to the Uganda Road Fund, this new public transport infrastructure across the urban local governments, estimated at nearly 80 kilometers combined, will now require a critical maintenance system of funding.
All cities should have an allocation of at least 1 billion Uganda shillings for maintenance. Yeah, the bigger historical cities have got that funding for the old network, the existing network. Now with the increased network, then the bigger cities like the Jinja, the Gurus, and the entails and so on should have more resources towards maintenance. So talking about doubling their annual allocations that they get from Road Fund. But in the current resource-constrained environment, it's going to be a bit of a challenge.
The Directorate of Urban Planning within the Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development is emphasizing that the new cities are now expected to enforce the new physical planning parameters to achieve the pillars expected of modern urban settlements.
If you are going to select anything for implementation, any infrastructure, be it road, be it economic infrastructure, it must be according to the plan. So it is a condition. So you are not going to implement anything that is not within the plan. And they also understand that this program looks at physical planning seriously.
The Local Government Finance Commission also stresses that the urban authorities must embrace new IT-based innovations.
But now, after 1 year of implementing IRAS, they move from 26.5 to 32 billion. And this increment, we attribute it mostly onto the introduction of most of these strategies, and more so the introduction of an integrated revenue administration system.
Uganda's support to municipal infrastructure development initiated what it calls 7 pillars, within which the regional 10 cities and 14 municipalities were required to ride on and should remain mandatory.
When you do infrastructure projects, you make sure that you don't create negative impact on the environment. So there's an indicator on environment. Others include how do you do procurement, because most of the resources of government go through procurement. So every year we have 7 indicators which we assess, and that helps us whether we are moving towards achieving the objective.
Before the current suspension of the World Bank funding for new projects in Uganda, a new $750 million financing was anticipated to cushion the new cities in bridging the huge road infrastructure network deficit that they face.